yikes. But anything below 30, I'm like, we'll check it again in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. anything below 30%, I go, all right. And then I go back and I don't know, I keep making macaroni, whatever I was doing, whatever I was doing in the day.
Yeah,
doesn't bother me at all.
That is the true sign of like graduating and maturing, is opening your portfolio and seeing, 5 figures down, or 20-30% down, and going,
yeah,
well, hey, Lions won. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, damn. Oh, crazy. Anyway,
speaking of which, quick shout out. I in my not football fanness am excited. This is exciting. I never get to be excited about my team. Well, you know what? There is that distinct possibility, because they usually do. But this year's different, Will.
I know it is different. I know it is. But I saw someone ask me, "Hey, Will, did you take any profits on your aerodrome position yet?" I have not, because, I mean, I'm not selling it. Here's the thing. I was gonna make a video on this, but like, we are unequivocally, no one can argue. There is zero doubt that we are in a bull market.
Yeah.
Of bull markets. We had a $10,000 candle for Bitcoin yesterday, ladies and gentlemen.
The biggest in its history.
The biggest single candle in its history. And so you have to ask yourself, why? Why did that happen? Other than more people bought than sold to a very large degree, right? Why? Because the United States government is about to put in place Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. There's also a bill that is in Congress already that was introduced back in July that said not only will they being the United States government, will take the Bitcoin that is held by the government, which is roughly 200,000 Bitcoin, 220,000, and just never sell it. But Cynthia Lummis, Senator from Wyoming, put forward a bill that said the United States would have a plan to add 1 million Bitcoin to that position. Wow. Or they would make that position 1 million Bitcoin. So they would add 800,000 Bitcoin. That is a real bill on Capitol Hill that is being discussed. And so that, even though it's not passed, that is not the official stance of the U.S. government, right? And the government that's going to make it a strategic reserve is not in yet until January 19th or January 20th. But that is starting in arms race. You have the ETFs did $1.1 billion of inflows the other day. A few days prior, $1.3 billion in a single day. Institutions are diving into this asset because they know what's coming. You now have had, let's see, the ETF went live, in January, something like that. So we've had 11 months for financial institutions to get their pickings of their Bitcoin, right? But now you're about to have nation states. You're about to have nation states, and then companies like a Microsoft.
Yeah.
The arms race for Bitcoin is here. If you don't have it, you're not going to be able to get it at some point in the pretty damn near future. At least, the amounts of Satoshi. You'll always be able to buy Bitcoin, right? Because it's fractionalized. But, so bad metaphor, bad saying on my part. But still, so I know that is happening. I have zero idea what price Bitcoin goes to. I don't think anyone can properly visualize and understand the level of demand that institutions, companies, and nation states all vying for the same asset at the exact same time is going to create, which is part of the reason why we had a $10,000 candle today. We're overextended to a crazy degree. This market is incredibly bullish. And so I am looking at this bull run, as you should with every single bull run, in my personal opinion, which is once you know that you're in it, you do not take short-term profits at the very beginning. You buy on the dip, and that's it. And then you ride it. You become a swing trader, in my personal opinion. Become a swing trader. Do not try to outsmart short-term flows. Take a look at the weekly chart and say, hey, I've had this position for 3 months. Now I can start to sell some, right? As opposed to, I'm going to buy some now. And now I bought some altcoins. But now Bitcoin looks like it's going to go up. So I'm going to sell my altcoins. I'm going to go into Bitcoin. I'm going to ride that Bitcoin wave up. And I'm going to sell that Bitcoin. I'm going to ride back into these altcoins. And you're going to do all these things. You're going to make a bunch of mistakes. You're going to pay a ton of fees across centralized exchanges you're probably using. And so if you're new, if you're not an advanced trader, buy on the dips, hold for a few months, then start to take profits. My personal opinion, if you're new.
Well said. And if you're also wondering about like where do you buy Bitcoin and how much, I saw that comment come through. Let's tackle the where first. If all you're interested in is buying Bitcoin, that's the only part of crypto you really want to touch. You're not interested in the other stuff. Then there are a lot of solutions that are tailored just for you. You can use a centralized exchange like Coinbase is probably the most reputable, well-known in the United States, has the deepest Bitcoin liquidity, and has a lot of stuff you can do with your Bitcoin on their platform. Go ahead, Alex.
That was Will.
Oh, sorry.
That was Will going deep.
Deep liquidity, deep liquidity, and they have stuff you can do with your Bitcoin there and make it easy. For now,
Yeah,
that makes it easy for you to access with like a username and password. I also think there are a variety of Bitcoin solutions that are even better because they're tailored specifically to Bitcoin. One of them is called Swan, like the bird, and another one that I use is called River. You can find it at river.com, and we have a link for it at theriseupmorningshow.com. I'll pop that up on the screen really quick. Sorry about that, everybody. River, I like because it lets you do automated zero-fee recurring buys and withdrawals. So for somebody like me, I just want to accumulate more Bitcoin over time at a manageable pace. I like to turn my dollars into Bitcoin because in a world with Bitcoin, dollars are always worth less. Bitcoin is always worth more. So I've got it set up to pull money from my bank every week and buy the same amount of Bitcoin every single day. Dollar cost averaging is what this is called, and it reduces volatility over time. Instead of trying to time the market, I'm just buying every day consistently. And then like once a month, I move the Bitcoin from my River exchange account to my own cold wallet. If you're unfamiliar with custody, like that term is new to you, Google self-custody Bitcoin and learn hot wallet, cold wallet, private key, public key, a few other terms. We all talk about this on our channels so that you can understand the risks, benefits, and opportunities of letting someone else like Coinbase or River be your custodian and becoming your own custodian. That's the real promise of crypto, is that on some level, we can take control back from those banks and institutions that we rely on to custody our information every day. So river.com, Swan, or Coinbase would be where I'd get started. And I don't know about you guys, but somebody made this comment on my video yesterday about, Bitcoin is essentially fiat. And it's because we have to connect our banks, or we have to have some kind of centralized on-ramp, off-ramp. How do you feel about that?
Then is gold fiat? Is this microphone fiat because I bought it with it? Is my skin, which is full of moisturizer product that I bought with fiat, also fiat? Am I fiat?
Are you fiat?
Am I fiat?
So, oh my gosh.
I mean, it just seems like a silly. It seems like a very silly comparison, because just because you trade one thing for another doesn't make that one thing the same as the thing you traded for. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a need to trade for it. I mean, it just seems silly.
Yeah, exactly. And fiat, for people who don't know, just means money that represents a promise to pay. It is government money. That all money is a symbol. It's not like the dollars your money is printed on are themselves the cotton paper worth hundreds of dollars or $10 or $20 or whatever. It is a symbol. It is a thing which represents something else. It is fiat money. Words are fiat.
So it's not practical anymore, but you technically do not have to on-ramp. You can mine it. That's the way that all of it is created, and everyone gets onboarded. Of course, we're just trading around the circulating supply. I don't know. I mean, I guess it really depends, because of course there's over-the-counter buys too. People do that. If you're buying it from someone else, you don't necessarily need to use a centralized on-ramp. It's peer-to-peer. You can get it in a whole bunch of places. But of course, I'll concede that the overwhelming majority just comes from, at this point now, centralized sources, which should tell you something.
But Alex, I run my Bitcoin miners, which I bought with fiat, with electricity, which I buy with fiat, which therefore makes Bitcoin fiat, and this whole thing's a scam.
Crap. And I run myself with food, which I bought with fiat.
Oh man.
Everything's going to zero.
I bought with fiat. It's all a sham.
It's all a sham. Morning,
damn it.
Good
Welcome
morning,
to the show.
fam. I didn't join right away.
You don't have your audio.
I'm running around this morning.
Yep.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Good.
Say it again. You didn't join what?
Oh, I was just saying, sorry I'm late. I didn't join this morning because I've been running around doing stuff. So hi, everybody. Good morning. And I am also Fiat because I bought this phone with Fiat dollars to come talk to you lovely people. So.
Well,
it
thank
just
you.
keeps getting deeper.
Yeah, it just keeps
How far
getting
does
deeper.
it go?
But I do think, there was some validity to the claim that like crypto,
Yes.
the promise of decentralization has really not been fulfilled yet. The promise of Bitcoin hasn't been fulfilled yet. I think we're very much moving towards that thing.
You know what I think you also have to say in the same breath is that I think it's possible to have gone a little bit too far too fast down the decentralization spectrum, right? Because it's not a one size fits all. Not every flavor of decentralization is the same. We like to say that it is on a spectrum, and unfortunately, we have lots of examples of it not going well when something is fully decentralized too fast. There are not a lot of successful examples. And if you would like the most topical, relevant one, something we've talked about a little bit lately, Polkadot's treasury management is up to community voting, and those dipshits have been spending into oblivion, and they don't really have anything to show for it. So there is an example of an institution, by the way, Polkadot, that I would say up until then had been running the decentralization game pretty well. They started off very blatantly and transparently centralized, and then kind of, they were slowly moving down that spectrum. And look what happens when you give the community the reins of too much, too fast, people who have the wrong incentives, all that sort of stuff. It's a tricky game. I'm personally not bearish on centralized things. I would rather see like centralization that is honest about what it is, and those people held accountable by a transparent ledger. I'm more bullish on that in the short term. I'd like to walk towards decentralization, but it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, well said.
I like things to be decentralized after they have been fully built out to meet their vision. And then the decentralization doesn't necessarily mean the solution changes. I don't know. It's like an interesting position because if you take something and you put it in the hands of people who don't know anything about tech or economics or the thing that was made, whether maybe it's a game or maybe it's a DeFi protocol or stuff, you just have such an increased potential for it to be ruined.
Yeah.
Having the ability for technological decisions or economic decisions to be made by a highly specialized group of people is just one that always just seems far better to me. But like ownership, some things you can vote on. Yeah, sure. Decentralize it, right? Basically create a better shareholder environment, if you will. It's a little more democratized for certain decisions, but some things I think absolutely need to remain centralized. Otherwise, you're just going to continuously have projects rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall. And you're not going to have anything that stands the test of time.
Yeah.
I think that's an important point too, because I think that decentralization has become such a buzzword that everybody feels that everything needs to be 100% decentralized all the time, when actually that can be really harmful in a lot of ways. And I think decentralization is a spectrum. There are times when it's useful and there are times when it's not. And if you look at, I think it was Evan that just said there are projects that you have to go through a centralized phase before you are able to kind of graduate to that decentralized phase. So all of your favorite layer 2s that everybody loves, and like ZK Sync and Base and XYZ, they're so decentralized. None of them are decentralized. Not a single one of them. Go look at L2beat.com and look at the stages that they're in right now, and you'll see that none of these projects are decentralized at all.
And nor should they, in my opinion, when they are that young.
Agreed.
Correct. And actually, I'm going to see if it's been. Oh wow, Base's website is very new.
Oh, it's all shiny.
Oh, they made some new
I was going to pull up
updated dates.
Yeah, and this is kind of a hot take, but for a lot of them, there's a financial incentive to not be decentralized, right? Like we've talked a few times about the sequencer or sequencers air quote on Base, but there's a lot of centralization for the sake of monetization in a lot of these projects as well.
Yeah, monetization and also security. Like we talk about how decentralized systems are more secure, but on some level, like I don't have, if it's not sufficiently decentralized, and that doesn't mean it's more secure for you personally. Like if I write down my Amazon password in a notebook somewhere, am I going to take as good a care of that notebook as like Amazon, the company, is going to take care of their, dozens of server farms in, protected locations around the globe? No. I'm really not going to. The question is trust. Can we align incentives so that we can trust the people who are our custodians? And we've seen the pitfalls of trust is one of the reasons we want to move away from a super centralized system, or at least give people the option to have more freedom and control over what's theirs, Will, real quick question. It's about 10 minutes to CPI data today, right? Is that something you'll take apart for us when it comes time? I've seen 2 or 3.
I thought that was Wednesday. Pretty sure that's Wednesday.
Today is November 12th.
Yes, but today's Tuesday.
It's okay. I traveled a whole day forward into the future, man.
Yeah, in my head, it was Wednesday.
So
Wednesday CPI, Thursday's PPI, Friday is U.S. retail sales. Also Thursday we get jobless claims data. Unless I am totally drawing a blank.
You're not, dude. You're not. I enter a temporal realm when I leave my home in Memphis to go other places. Time ceases to exist the same way for me. Could it be Friday? Absolutely. I would have no idea.
Wait a second. No. Provide more. The Ministry of Statistics has decided to revise the release time of CPI at 4 p.m. on the 12th of every month. So it should be this month.
Oh, that's today. Today's the 12th.
Yeah, CPI data released today. What time?
You are in the correct temporal realm, it seems.
In that case, then it's going to be in about 10 minutes. I was right. I think that should be it. Usually it's like 8:30.
It's always 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So when it comes out, we'll let you know what it says. And if you've got a crypto question in the meantime, let me know. I saw one come through that said, is now a good time to be buying tokens that the SEC has sued, like for companies like Uniswap, for example, Ripple, XRP. I think that now a recent pump is partially signs of optimism that perhaps the coming administration in the United States will take a more favorable stance on crypto regulations than the SEC of the past. But I don't know. I wouldn't go out and search for what are all the tokens the SEC has sued and just buy them all. I wouldn't do that. They're not all equal. They don't all have the same value to me. They might not fit my investment thesis. Go ahead, Al.
I mean, so to be fair, that is an investment thesis. It may not be a good one, but it is one.
It is one, but yeah.
You would just have to be aware of, all of the different contributing pieces to that narrative that you're trying to build for yourself. If that's the thinking, it's like, okay, what's the thing that ties all these things together? If they're only similarities that they've been sued by the SEC, then to be very honest, the way that the SEC has been practicing regulation in the past how many years, that's probably their only similarity. There is no rhyme or reason to the way that they're going after things. They are picking names out of a hat and applying a legal framework that doesn't really exist to anything and everything that they feel like picking on that day.
Do you think it's like Oprah, you get a Wells notice and you get a Wells notice and you get a Wells notice?
Yeah, like the dying throes of a stuck pig. Yeah.
Maybe. Nice. I don't know, because what's weird is so OpenSea is a great example. We didn't get a ton of details about it, but OpenSea was one of the few Wells notices I've seen where I'm like, they deserved it.
Yeah.
They did.
And to be clear, I say that as a diehard Web3 maxi in all of its forms, right? But they did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The way the law is written, they absolutely deserve it. But then you take Immutable. That's a weird jump. I'm not aware of anything that Immutable did that 48,000 other projects didn't also do. So in that sense, it's really hard to discern any kind of a pattern from their methodology because it doesn't track.
It's big. They have money. Is it the same type of crypto or a different type of crypto? Different type of crypto? We haven't sued this type yet. All right, let's sue it.
I don't buy that, because think about how many have done the same things that raised way more, that have way bigger war chests, that could be a way juicier confiscation for an agency, if we wanted like to go down the corruption path, that they're going after people with money that they can, earn from or litigate and make, then
yeah, that's not the path I was going down though. It's more of a branding. Immutable X is the biggest gaming infrastructure. Let's go after it. Uniswap is the biggest DeFi. Let's go after it. OpenSea is the biggest NFT platform. Let's go after it.
I buy that.
Headline.
Yeah.
Look how tough I am.
Also, for the record, Bob on YouTube leaves us a comment that Robinhood got hit with a Wells notice. Robinhood deserves it. Robinhood is shady as fuck.
Yeah.
And Robinhood, the CEO, has been in front of Congress defending his actions multiple times over the years. Robinhood is sketchy, and they've done some sketchy things with people's money, going all the way back to 2020, 2021. Before that, 2016. When did Robinhood was a thing? I was buying stocks on Robinhood in 2016. So
yeah, it's been around for a long time now at this point.
Robinhood is another name that absolutely deserves an investigation because some shady shit has gone down there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also the data release is tomorrow. The CPI data, FYI.
So what's on the
Sorry, everyone.
I can't take this anymore. This
There's
is
so much back and forth.
Coaster.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Are we on the right time plane or not?
No, we are.
Don't know.
Wednesday,
knows.
November 13th, 8:30 a.m. I was correct before. How dare you confuse me?
I'm sorry.
Evan crawled out of an enchanted tree this morning.
I think I threw everybody off.
Nobody knows.
So we have a couple of questions coming through about different types of trades that can be executed. Somebody has asked, we've seen one or two about shorts, how to trade with leverage. We've seen one or two about, Carol asked about limits, saying I've set buy limits, but I've never set a sell limit. And I think that might be an interesting topic of conversation just to explore some options for people who don't know. But first, I wanted to honor this question that said, hey, Casey's a new face. For folks who haven't seen you here before, Casey, do you want to just say like, a quick fun fact about you and like your favorite color or something so people can get to know you better?
Favorite color?
I just did a big cheesy smile and then realized I'm not on camera. So hi. I'll be back on camera most days. Today I can't. Favorite color is black.
Nice.
That is actually devoid of color.
Yeah, that's what I like. Fun fact about me, I am a licensed skydiver. That's always a crowd pleaser.
That is cool.
So there's my fun fact of the day. Yeah, I don't know. That's like the most interesting thing about me.
Somebody asked if you were single, and I said she's married to her bags.
That is a fantastic answer. She's not single. Thanks for asking.
Thank you, Casey.
You're like, I'm in a polyamorous relationship with at least 7 altcoins.
Yeah.
It's codependent.
Yeah, most of them are treating me very well right now, so not looking either.
That's good.
Yeah, nice.
That's
so
good.
That's a good pivot point because I've seen the question a few times. I've gotten a bunch of comments just about, profit taking. Are you still using the same, buy and sell strategy? Have you made adjustments? Are you doing whatever? So, where are we at? Where are you guys at right now with all that? Because I know we've kind of been publicly talking about, well, I might sell some stuff, do a little of this, trade some stuff. I think context is important because while I talk about, for example, I'll start. While I talk about selling some Solana right now, you got to remember that like my average buy price on Solana is like $60.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm very much considering buying some, and selling some, so that I can buy more with that amount, assuming that we revisit below. Because Solana, for example, hit a $100 billion market cap yesterday, which turned out to be decent resistance because we immediately fell back underneath it. Which was an all-time high. I mean, Casey, I know you made a video about that the other day, discussing the differences between Solana's token price all-time high and its market cap all-time high, which is a great video if you guys haven't seen it. But I don't know. So in that sense, I'm heavily considering taking some profits and waiting. Nothing goes up only forever. It could go up another 20-30% before it corrects and dips. I've just been burned so many times by allowing that to be my prevailing inner monologue that I would rather miss out on a few extra percent to like lock in something just in case I'm wrong and we take a significant crash. You know, we almost touched $90,000 Bitcoin yesterday. It wouldn't be crazy for us to fall down a little bit and chill, you know.
I was like, you're right. We did just miss 90,000. It was $89,983.
Oh man, I know, it was so close. I wanted to see that nice round number.
What a tease.
Yep. I actually think this might be a good time for people to start learning about limit orders and stop loss orders specifically because Go ahead.
I have to share this because my phone is right there. God, I'm an idiot. My mother texted me this morning and said, hooray, my limit sell worked. And,
nice.
She
Whoa, that's badass.
Yeah. So shout out, Mom, killing it. Sold some Cardano on this 80% pump.
Nice.
Over the last week. She's had it for a while, and yeah. So that she's a great example. I'll have to bully her up here at some point someday. But just about, I agree with Mac. There's my mom. There she is. Mac says bullish on Alex's mom.
Always.
My mom.
But speaking,
go
ahead.
Just with my mom's example with just that. That's a great example of like long-term. It was a long-term hold. She's had it for a while. Convictions changed. The thesis has been altered. We have all gotten new information. Opinions have shifted. We've watched Cardano go into a bear market and do okay. And then not really change the game when they emerged, and everything else just started, lapping and passing. And so you have to adjust your position, and that's where we're at right now. So shout out. Good job, Mom.
What were you going to say?
Speaking of moms, my mom called me and left a voicemail. I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted, but I screen recorded the voicemail. Mom was like, hey, Willie, it's Mom. Just calling to say, like, Bitcoin, wow, it's $85,000. And I was like, oh my God, sell.
Top.
Everyone sell. Top.
Sell.
And then it went up an extra an extra $5,000. But I was like, oh God, no, it's topping. It's like the same thing. It's like Casey says, like the screenshot rule. If you want to screenshot the price or screenshot your portfolio, odds are you should be hitting the sell button instead of hitting the screenshot button. If your mom calls you and says, hey, Willie, Bitcoin, wow, especially with the wow at the end, it's time, it's time to get rid of your bags, ladies and gentlemen. Also,
quick shout out to Will's mom impression because I heard the voice firsthand and it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Oh man, see, that's my number one question is like, what does Will's mom actually sound like? But it sounds like
she's right there. You can take a look. You can go look at it in the video.
I'm gonna go watch it right after the show.
Okay, so Minnie Mouse.
I've had a couple of toppy situations too that have me concerned the last couple of days. Like I've had a few people reach out to me that they're like, hey, I had a couple of questions about crypto. Or I have a friend that she's a big life insurance agent, and she's like, hey, quick question for you. I have this guy that's got $1 million in Bitcoin and wants to do a life insurance annuity with us, and we have some questions for you. And we've gotten a lot of these lately. So I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm so happy to hear it, but oh no, I'm getting scared.
Yeah, let me call you back. I gotta go hit the sell button.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just for because there is so much question, let's talk about that in a second. I want to tell people about limit orders and shorts and longs because that'll set them up. The how-to will set them up for the conversation we're going to have in terms of like where's it going. So, for people who don't know, most of your cryptocurrency orders are what are called spot orders. That means they just happen at the current price listed on the marketplace or exchange where you're buying tokens. If you go to Coinbase and it says Bitcoin is $89,000 a token, that is the spot price of Bitcoin. You think of it like you have a spyglass and you're like, I spot a piece of land, I spot the price. That's the spot trade. Most trades are like that. You can also trade what are called futures, which is when you are buying or selling at a future price that is higher or lower. These orders are different types, but the most popular is called limit. A limit order is if I want to buy, I can set a limit, a price, a target for my purchase to execute. If I think Bitcoin is going to pull back to 75,000 and I want to buy some if it does, but don't want to be watching the charts all the time, I can use a platform like Coinbase or KuCoin, I think Kraken does them too, to set an order to execute when the price hits that amount. You can set a limit order for a buy or a sell. And in some platforms, you can also apply what's called leverage, which is when you put up some collateral money in exchange for the platform to make your bet bigger. you might hear people say, I'm trading with 10x leverage. That means they are betting on the future price, and they might have put up $1. And if the leverage is 10x, then their trade is actually worth $10. They've put up $1 of collateral. The platform has provided the rest. And you're thinking, wow, gambling with free money sounds great. But here's the risk, is that the more leverage you apply, the less the price has to move in the wrong direction for them to take your money. If you're betting on, the price going up in the future and you've got 10x leverage on and it goes down even 10%, they take your provided collateral and it's gone. Your bet's over. So you can't lose more money than you put up, but because it's subjective, it takes a lot less to lose it. And this stuff is so volatile. So it can be very, very risky. I don't recommend anybody who's new start trading with leverage. And anybody who is trading with leverage for the first time, you should absolutely start very, very, this is the highest of high risk.
And just temper expectations. You're walking into the casino.
That's right.
You're probably going to lose.
And most people, I say most, this is, statistically supported, cannot outtrade the market. So that's just a very quick and dirty overview. If you have questions about how to set those up, I've done videos on Coinbase Advanced. I'm going to do another one today about leverage, but let us know what specific questions you have. And Casey, it sounded like maybe you were going to add some context. Yeah.
Yeah. A quick rule of thumb that I like to tell people too is, everybody, like you said, they see big numbers whenever they see leverage. Oh, big potential for profits. I say this with all the love in my heart, but if you are not a trader and you can't trade profitably on paper, you shouldn't be trading spot with real money. Okay, You decide to take a couple of trades, fake trades, they were profitable consistently. Go do it with real money in the spot market. Don't use leverage. If you can consistently be profitable in spot, okay, then maybe look at using 2x leverage. And then as you work your way up, then you can kind of graduate as you understand how things go. But, don't just jump straight into like 50x leverage, get liquidated, and then say, oh, trading's a scam. Yeah,
very well said. Real quick, a note of order for people who don't know, these are our accounts. If you're just seeing us for the first time, you can tap our faces to find our profiles, and do be sure to follow us. I know everybody on TikTok says that, and you're like, oh my God. Unfollow, but there are a lot of scammers. They're in the chat now, even people who will impersonate us because we talk about finance adjacent topics, and then we'll reach out to you directly and they'll say, how's your trading going? Or they'll say, I have an investment opportunity.
How are the markets treating you?
Yeah, to try and gain your trust and separate you from your money. So the best way to protect yourself against those things is to establish a relationship with us. These are our only accounts. We and legitimate creators here anywhere will never message you first asking or offering advice on anything. And then if you follow us, you should check out the links on the screen here to get connected, because we're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We go live Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time to share helpful news, commentary, demonstrate how we do our research. But the show lives 24/7 in our free to join Discord server. You can find it at theriseupmorningshow.com. You can find it at the links in our bios, or just type in discord.gg/riseup. I have a pinned tutorial if you've never used Discord before, right at the top of my profile. You can tap my face now, go to my profile. You can see that video, like it, save it, come back to the live. We would love to have you in that community. Learners at all levels of experience gather there to talk, ask questions, share what they know. And we say, rise up together. So that's your commercial. Now you know what to do.
I saw some questions too about, and this is just a slight tangent from talking about like limit orders and things like that. And I saw a question come up about like Coinbase, and someone brought up Coinbase One. If you're an American and you're using Coinbase a lot, and you're using any centralized exchange, you're paying a lot of fees. You're paying, trading platform fees. You're paying spread fees, right? When you buy and you sell, there's fees. First of all, fees that you pay are tax deductible. FYI, keep track of them. Give them to your accountant. Include them in your taxes. It will reduce your taxes, so you can get that money back, if you will. However, if you want to reduce your fees on Coinbase, there is a service called Coinbase One. It is a monthly subscription, is $30 a month. So if you are making a decent amount of trades, or you're only making a few trades, but you're doing it with a decent sized, I won't use the word decent, but a large position, you can very easily recoup that money just by ending up doing a handful of trades. So what Coinbase One gives you, this monthly subscription, is it removes the platform fees. You still have the spread fees, but it removes the cryptocurrency exchange fee. It also gives you additional staking rewards. I'm going to see if I have it up here. I don't. So if you have USDC on Coinbase, you'll be earning a higher percentage, and you'll be earning a higher percentage across your other staked cryptocurrencies on there as well. You get priority customer support. You get a pre-filled tax return document, which is just nice and convenient. And then your account is protected up to $1 million in protections. So that's all. And you get all of that for $30 a month. So I would say for me, it makes sense. I make a couple moves a month, but that move for me saves me more money than the $30 a month. If you're also out here using Coinbase as your main trading platform, it's nice from the tax document standpoint, but it's also super nice because like you will be paying less in fees. And then if you use it for staking, because I've used Coinbase for staking stablecoins, USDC, and it took me from like, what was it? I think it was like 4.9% to like 5.6% or something like that. So like it's a sizable percentage increase for staking. So if you use Coinbase, if that's your main platform, I would highly suggest taking it out. This is not sponsored by Coinbase in any way, shape, or form, but it could be.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah. And that's a really good way to try to reduce your trading fees if you're an American and if you are using Coinbase as your like go-to. Also, if you're not American, you're still using Coinbase as your go-to. Yeah. So.
Well said. Alex, I know we talked about it yesterday, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to shed light on this great question in the chat. If you're taking profits to stablecoins, or you're moving some crypto, or you're buying crypto for the first time, give me the pitch on why stablecoins are great. And then maybe you can answer this question. Do you have a preference for a stablecoin, specifically among USDT and USDC, Tether and US dollar coin? What do you think about when you're taking profits in a stable about like why you would do this one or that one?
Is that a question to me or Alex?
Well, I asked Alex because he gave the stablecoin. He gives that lovely, concise stablecoin rant about why they're such. But you know, feel free to take it because he's lagging.
I'll let Alex
buffering
control his thoughts. Okay, well, I'll take it.
Sorry.
So I would.
You got it. You got it now.
Well, the dogs are barking and there's power washing happening, so I'm keeping myself on mute and I keep forgetting. But no, okay. Will, you start and I'll.
I was gonna go. You're fine with Tether or USDC. I would say USDC is just probably what I prefer.
Irish says XRP is my stablecoin, and
XRP is my stablecoin. Hey, yeah. Shout out to XRP, the greatest stablecoin out there. It's a better stablecoin than some of the stablecoins we've had, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a better stablecoin than Terra,
than Terra, and
all sorts
a few
of
others.
Weird algorithmic stablecoins.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. But yeah, USDC and Tether are fine. DAI is also probably okay, but I don't know that one too well, just because like a lot of people like is essential. I just would never use it. I prefer USDC and Tether because like I know they're backed by a ton of US bonds, and the odds of them depegging, and depegging means a stable coin that's no longer worth $1. Maybe it's worth 98 cents, or maybe it's worth $1.01, right? It's not $1. We've had problems in the past with stable coins depegging. In fact, USDC had one problem where it fell to about 86 or 84 or 88%. It was in that mid 80 range. And the reason why that happened was because some of the funds that backed it were falling in value. But the thing is it was actually the easiest 16% trade you could make in your life, because 84 or 85% of everything that backed USDC of its total market cap were US bonds. So you knew that it could only fall that far. And so a lot of people just like bought USDC at 85 cents, then sold it again at $1. They were like, easiest trade I've ever made in my life. That was a fun thing. But now, ever since then, USDC is fully backed by cash equivalents. So I have no worries with USDC, particularly because they work very closely with US regulators and the US government. And Tether is like the 18th or 16th largest buyer of US bonds in the world. So like I would feel totally fine on that. You're going to see a lot of FUD around Tether. But guess what? We've been seeing FUD around Tether for, I think, 8 years now. Forever. So I think you're fine. Well, that's my opinion.
If you're curious,
also an indicator.
Sorry, Casey.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say we happen to have on our YouTube channel right here an interview with one of the original co-founders of the Tether stablecoin.
Dude, it's so
heavily traded cryptocurrency on the planet.
Go ahead,
Cool.
Casey, because I know Alex has got
Take it
another
away.
point he wants to take it to. I can see it in his eyes.
No, just a silly bottom indicator for you is that every time there's massive tether FUD, like tether's gonna depeg, and we're all market's done.
It's all over.
That's not something to be taken lightly. Like if something were to happen to tether, that would be terrible for the market. However, it tends to mark the local bottom. So like if you just max long everything whenever there's massive tether FUD, you would have outperformed basically every other indicator ever.
Wow. Nice fact. Alex, you had a question I know about why not just take profits into US dollars? Why would I move it into a stable coin at all?
Yeah, so honestly, that kind of ties into my answer why stablecoins. And for the record, I would agree completely with Will. I use both Tether and USDC. I find myself more often lately using USDC, not because I have an issue with Tether, but just because the way that I pick is based on what I'm doing at the time. And not every cryptocurrency, although it's getting better and better and better. And honestly, at this point, you're kind of hard pressed to find stuff that this doesn't apply to. But there's not a trading pair for every cryptocurrency. Not every single crypto has a liquidity pool that exists with every single other crypto, right? So like you're trying to swap, native Polkadot into native Avalanche. You have to do that on a centralized exchange. You're not actually swapping, you're buying and selling. They're just
real
doing
quick point of clarification for people who just didn't understand any of that. If you go to a different country, you got to trade your dollars for euros. These exchanges and these crypto networks, it's the same thing. If you want to go play over here, you got to swap one currency for another.
Thank you. Yeah, and so back in the day, I used to use Tether a lot more because altcoins, the weird fringe ones that I was, gambling on, simply did not have pairs with anything else. They had Bitcoin pairs on, various whatevers, and they had a USDT pair. So, you would hold USDT so that you could buy those things if you needed to. At this point, most things have most pairs, stablecoin wise. USDC lives on every blockchain at this point, pretty much. So the reason that you would take profits into a stablecoin versus cashing out into dollars is one, if you plan on re-entering an investment, you can save yourself one of the fees by just keeping it in the stablecoin and not selling it into dollars. Because then, unless you're trading in and out on a centralized exchange, there's really no point to go into dollars unless you're trying to pull it out and put it back in your bank and be done, which is totally fine. That's a valiant, good strategy if that's what you're into.
It's probably more than a lot of people achieve.
Probably. I like to keep my velocity as high as possible when I'm looking at entering a new altcoin position. I don't want to wait around. I am way more confident in keeping at least a chunk of my liquid money in stablecoins just because I feel better with it being on chain and held in different wallets all over the place. And I want everything all in one account with USA or whoever. So for me, it's a velocity thing. Plus, I can put those stable coins to work more easily than I can US dollars in many cases.
Yes.
I would rather earn better interest on USDC with Coinbase than I would earn 0.015% with cash in my bank account, for example. That doesn't even begin to compare. So just about keeping my options open, increasing velocity, and better interest farming for my money.
And you didn't say this explicitly, but this is one of the best. If you're crypto curious or crypto skeptical and you don't want to expose yourself to a lot of risk, this is one of the easiest, best ways to get involved is go to Coinbase, use your credit card or connect your bank to buy a little bit of USDC or, a little bit of Bitcoin too, if you want to feel fancy, but just buy USDC, learn how to, send, receive. And while you're holding it on their platform, you will earn a higher interest rate than you earn at your bank. And it will give you motivation to spend more time here, see if this is for you or not. And if nothing else, hey, you parked your money somewhere that it earned you a good return while you were learning. So not a hard homework assignment to go to coinbase.com/learn, create a wallet in 5 or 10 minutes and have an asset that is as risky as the dollars in your wallet, but is earning you more. Almost probably at the rate of inflation, but probably not quite. So good luck with that.
So we just had a number of good ones. Will, do you want to grab one of those?
Yeah, let's see. Which one was my favorite? I think there was one that was how do you choose what exchange to use? I don't know. For me, honestly, I just kind of went with the name brand, which as me in America, is Coinbase. But also, I like their Coinbase One platform to help save me fees. I like that they have an easy on-ramp to get you on-chain with Base, which is their layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. If you don't know what that means, if that's all gobbledygook, it's the thing that they made to make Ethereum go fast and make it cheap. So there's a very easy on-ramp there with like their mobile wallet that you can get on your phone, or a wallet that you can put right on your web browser, and you can load very easily from Coinbase into that wallet, and then go and explore like these DeFi stuff we're talking about. Find some ways to earn interest on your coins more easily. Like it's just it provides a very easy on-ramp to getting on chain and playing around with these solutions that we talk about. And then at the same time, I think Coinbase is just like really easy. It's a name brand, and like from a security and risk standpoint, I'm not really worried about them like experiencing some kind of devastating hack that would destroy the company, seeing as how they're a for-profit company and the trusted partner of almost said Morgan Stanley, of BlackRock. So like there's just a lot of security and safety there, which is why I choose Coinbase.
Well said. Casey, I saw you respond to a question in chat a minute ago too about exchanges and listings. I mean, this is another thing to consider, is like, you know, the money ball your exchange is playing. Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, the question was, do exchanges list things based off of volume or by being paid? And the answer is really both, or
Yes.
either in some cases. And so oftentimes, the majority of the time, it is because they were paid. It is because they were given a significant amount of USDC or USDT, or more often, a significant portion of the supply of that asset. So, you know, we're talking typically at least about 5% of the supply of whatever it is that is trying to get listed, or just again, massive fees that they're paying. Now, in certain cases, they'll come out of left field and they will list things because of volume, but more often than not, things are paying to get listed. So when you see stuff got listed, somebody paid for it.
Yeah, and Binance specifically has come under scrutiny recently because the CEO of a group called Moonrock Capital claimed they requested 15% of their project's total token supply for listing. Binance has had a policy since 2018 where they donate the proceeds of token listings to charities. And my understanding is that this is, you know, something that they post for people to verify, but I haven't verified it myself. So, and different exchanges are different. Some may require big time fees, big time allocations, and your favorite project getting listed on an exchange, especially if it's like a low cap or a meme coin or something, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody everywhere is going to use this token. It's going to go to the moon. It could just mean that they did a deal, they had money, and they're trying to get more attention to accumulate more. It's a case by case thing.
And the reason why the volume is important is because that's how centralized exchanges make money. They make money off of volume. So, you know, they might list a coin that they don't get paid at all, but they say, oh, this coin's being traded a lot across other exchanges. It's one of the hottest coins in the space right now. That means people would come on our platform, trade it a lot, which means we would rack in fee revenue. So that's why they may list it, even if they don't get paid directly.
Yeah, exactly. Like the peanut listing. You know, people want to trade peanut. It's in their best interest to be a place that you can go to trade peanut. If there's a popular football game on the television and you're a local bar, then you should put it on instead of making, you know, the patrons in your establishment watch C-SPAN. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. If they don't have the products and services people want to use, then people aren't going to patronize their business.
Correct.
Alex, is that your house? Is somebody breaking in actively?
Typing.
No, it's not.
Well, the dogs think so.
No,
The dogs think so.
they're quiet now.
I also want to say to somebody else, you know, Casey, whenever you're on the show, we just get such wonderful comments. So you've got to come back. I do want to say that Casey has been so kind to give her time, and you definitely should expect to see her more on the Rise Up Morning Show. But Casey, can you talk about any of your upcoming travel plans with people, about some of the cool stuff you're doing, or is that behind the scenes and you want to leave the cat in the bag?
Yeah, no worries.
Because this is cool content you should look for from Casey.
Yeah, definitely. I give like generally specifics about where I'm going to be, but I care more about my security now than ever.
Of course.
You know, it's a weird thing in crypto. This is kind of for everybody that's out there. Like I was very, very public about a lot of the events and things that I was going to last year, and there were some weird things that happened, and like some things that, yeah. So like I don't know. Now I tend to kind of back off of being so public with my whereabouts, specifically on TikTok, and that's why I also don't talk about, like, I don't show my wallets, I don't do stuff like that, because I don't know.
Yeah, never do that.
Out there is no upside to flexing your crypto. There is no upside to your personal safety is way more important. So that's my little rant on that. But anyway, I am headed to Thailand tomorrow, actually. And I'll be there through the holidays, and I'll be there initially for DevCon, which is a big conference, and it's, you know, a lot of the brightest minds that are building it's primarily focused on the Ethereum ecosystem, so a lot of your favorite projects and protocols on the Ethereum ecosystem, and then after that I'll be staying for a few, again, kind of like crypto event type things where there are these really cool communities. One of them is going to be it's called a pop-up city or a network state, where you go and it's like a live, work, play type of situation. And again, you all just come together and you have workshops and lectures and seminars, and you build together and you brainstorm together. And it's just an environment where you really take the time to, like, again, try and come up, identify, discuss, and solve problems, really is what the big thing is. So I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll have a lot of good stuff to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, and I know you'll be in a different time zone, and so we might not see you as regularly as we've been seeing you, but I am so excited to see the kind of updates you get from on the ground. That's gonna be like a great confluence of primary sources. You know, maybe Vitalik's probably gonna be there. Like, it's gonna be cool. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have major DevCon FOMO, because
major FOMO.
I know so many people that are going to be over there for it. I'm just listening to all them, scheduling things with all them. They're like, well, I'm going to be at DevCon. You know what? Fuck off.
We'll be here with all you guys, though. Don't worry.
I'll be in Georgia.
So we had another good question come through about scam tokens. There are a lot of great one-off questions today. So if I miss yours, we miss yours, post it again, and don't forget to jump in the Discord where the show lives 24/7. If we miss your question here, we will answer it. The question is, I get a lot of scam coins in my Coinbase wallet or in my whatever wallet. I open my wallet one day and I see a new token, and I've never heard of it before. I don't remember buying it. Might be an NFT. What's up with that? And what should I do about it? I will say, just quickly, don't do anything about it.
Yeah, don't touch it.
It's like a flyer on your car that you get outside a concert. Only the difference is sometimes tokens that people send to you because your address is public, they might not know who you are personally, but they might just be putting a flyer on your car. If you interact with them, you may unknowingly grant permission to a malicious smart contract. If you don't recognize it, just leave it alone. Unfortunately, we don't have a good escrow solution in crypto yet. That's something some enterprising entrepreneur needs to build. Do you want this asset to show up in your wallet permission button? A safe burn, stuff like that. There are all kinds of complications from it, but other thoughts or advice, guys?
The safe burns are getting a little bit better. That's something that I've been on the hunt to find for a very long time. And one of my favorite ones that I personally use, it's partially because I'm a huge fan of Bonk, is Bonk has a pooper scooper.
Oh no, I love it.
All of the
great branding.
All of the like dust and all of the shit that's in the leftover in your Phantom wallet and convert to Bonk. So I like
that's
the
amazing.
Pooper Scooper is my favorite.
That's so good.
That's
yeah.
But I wanted to just like, I'm feeling feisty, so I wanted to call some shots here.
Call them.
Somebody said, see. She got somebody said Rand Nooner Rand from Banter is there now at DevCon.
Of course he is.
Scam Man Rand. You want to talk about scam coins? Yeah, that's called Scam Nooner is that man's name. So take whatever he says with a grain of salt. That's all I will say.
Call your shots, Casey. You call those shots anytime you want to. There are so many people in this space who speak very loudly from a very big platform, but if it seems like somebody's trying to sell you something, they probably are. The loudest voices are not always the most helpful. And frankly, those people, they're probably not your teachers. So,
No.
Agreed. And I don't try and like stir shit up or anything, but I do like to just call people out. Like when people kind of idolize people, when people like look at, I think there's a lot of people that people hold on a pedestal that they shouldn't, and I'm happy to kind of knock them down in your mind a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between just hating on somebody and being a critic who works here. Like, if somebody threw a bunch of trash on the street in my city, I would pick it up. And I would, if I saw them doing it all the time, let folks know, like, hey, this litter bug is constantly, polluting our city, whatever. It's not because I hate that I love that person. I would feed them if they were hungry. But we have a responsibility if we want people to trust us and take us seriously. And especially in the crypto space where we've told such a bad story, we got to tell a better story. It's up to all of us. That's not hate. That's being a good citizen. So thank you.
Except for people who launch their own shitcoins and then show them on their own social media channels. I don't love them. They're a piece of shit.
What? That happens?
Yeah, exactly. Another rapid fire question. Who can answer this riddle for me? Can I store the same crypto on multiple cold wallets? For example, I've got a big stack of Bitcoin and I don't like the idea of keeping it all in one place, one private key. Is that possible?
Sure.
Does anyone do it?
I don't. I just keep all mine on the same wallet. I don't know. Works.
Take that note down, and I will be scouring all your cookbooks for a seed phrase later.
Go for it. All of my cookbooks. But actually, I have my seed phrases stored in 3 secure and very locked down locations.
Did you do it like Vitalik, where you like split it up and you got to combine them with math or something?
No, I didn't do that. It's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much. But they're in several fireproof safes, so
fireproof.
That's what I did.
Evans are being guarded by a magical gnome in an enchanted forest underneath a toadstool.
Yeah, he offers you a blue pill or a red pill, and whichever one you take, you've got to survive the next 24 hours with him. And if you make it through to the other side, he's like, all right, man, you earned it.
Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to have multiple addresses, just get multiple hardware wallets. In fact, if you want to be extra secure, maybe get different types of hardware wallets. Yeah, I don't know. You can get as extravagant with it as you like. But just get a couple different hardware wallets, store it in different places. Just
what kind of wallets do you use?
You're storing your seed phrases for all of those wallets correctly.
What kind of wallets do you use?
I use Ledger. Some people don't like Ledger, but it's the brands that are on it. Oh, what kind of wallets? So I use cold wallets one cold wallet for my Bitcoin. I use a Ledger. Some people don't like it though. Like Ledger, I've just used Ledger for forever. And also I'm a very analog person. I don't like touch screens. So I like that there's like a physical button to touch. For me, it works. Trezor is also really, really good. A lot of people have been liking Arculus lately. Also Ledger does have new hardware wallets that came out earlier this year that have a touch screen as well. There are a number of options out there that are all good. But I use cold wallets for long-term storage of my Bitcoin. I use hot wallets for when I want to go and trade coins that haven't been listed on centralized exchanges. Like I use the Coinbase mobile wallet and browser wallet, which is a hot wallet. I use Phantom for Solana. I've used MetaMask for 7 years now on Ethereum. I use hot wallets to go and buy and trade my altcoins that aren't centralized exchanges, or to go use a DeFi protocol, go stake some Solana or something like that. And then also I keep some stuff on exchanges too. Some stuff that like I want to try to sell, over the course of like, a month or two or something like that. And that's what I do. I use all 3.
What about you guys? Alex, Casey.
Yep. So cold wallet wise, everything is Trezor always. I've never owned a Ledger. I don't have an issue with them, but I quite like their onboarding for, especially if you're kind of getting into it, and new Ledger's onboarding for newer people is, in my opinion, better than Trezor's. I just like Trezor. They have a little bit better security track record. And then actually, I haven't used it a ton, but I have this bad boy that Arculus gave me at Consensus. And I kind of like it just because it's a little bit more like mobile and quick. So, it's kind of like the halfway point for me. Like I can carry it around with me. So if I wanted to have a little bit higher velocity, but still use cold storage, I could use this thing, but I would withhold full judgment because I haven't really spent much time with it yet. I just sort of have it, set it up to get the initial like impression, and it was very easy to use and set up. So I do enjoy it, but Trezor, 99.9% of it.
Casey, what about you?
Yeah, I'll answer, and then I wanted to take a question too. So somebody says, so crypto is non-tangible. Why are the wallets? And the reason for that is because there's different types of crypto wallets, right? There are what are called software wallets, and there are hardware wallets. And when they're talking about ledgers and trezors, the physical wallets, they're talking about a hardware wallet or a cold storage wallet. And it's literally software or hardware because it's software wallet on your computer, or it's a physical piece of hardware. And the biggest difference is that a hardware wallet, again, it's a physical device, and it requires physical input for all of your transactions. I like to consider it like a physical two-factor authentication for all your transactions, where like when you go and you do a transaction in your software wallet, like a MetaMask or a Rabby or a Phantom wallet, depending on whatever it is that you're doing, and you click the buttons, that transaction is done. And I mean click on your computer. Now, the problem with something like that is if somebody were to remotely hack into my computer and I were logged into all of my hot wallets, they would have access to be able to go ahead and, send all those funds out. Whereas if I had a hardware wallet connected to that account, then they wouldn't be able to move my funds out because the transaction would just fail unless I had physically accepted and confirmed the transaction on the physical hardware wallet device. So that's the biggest difference between the two. So yes, crypto is non-tangible. Your crypto assets live on the blockchain. They don't live in your wallet, regardless of whether it's your software wallet, your hardware wallet, your cold storage wallet. Your crypto assets don't live in your wallet. They live on the blockchain. Your wallet is simply how you interact with your assets that are on the blockchain. So, one of the analogies I like to use is think of it like your physical wallet, right? Your dollars don't live in your wallet or in your debit card. They live in the bank. Your debit card is just how you use and interact with them. Same thing with your crypto wallets, right? Your MetaMask wallet, your Ledger wallet, it's simply the means of interacting with your crypto assets that live on the blockchain. So, just different ways of accessing them and different levels of security is the difference there. So to kind of wrap it, what do I personally use? I use a combination of software and hardware wallets. Obviously, I prefer the security of hardware wallets. I do have one hardware wallet that I just send stuff to. Nothing ever comes out of it. It never connects to anything. That's like if I ever mess up everything else in my life, like I'll be able to count on that. And then I have wallets that I use more actively for trading and interacting with things. But I'm a Ledger person, so I've done a lot of work with Ledger over the years, and I like the product. I think I understand the product a lot. I think there's a lot of FUD around Ledger with the Ledger Recover service, and people thinking that that's not an opt-in service. So I think there's a lot of education needed around Ledger, but I'm Team Ledger, and hopefully that was helpful with your
It was super helpful. And if you need another explanation of that, I have 2 videos in my profile. I don't know where they are. We all post a lot of videos all the time. But one is explaining that your wallet is the worst name ever, because we think wallets are where our money is kept, but because your crypto doesn't physically exist, it's not kept anywhere. It's a record on that ledger, the blockchain, like Casey talked about. I have a video explaining that and how your wallet holds your keys. What is a key? How does it work? How does the transferring of crypto work? It's really not transferring. It's more like updating a ledger that everyone can access. It's kind of a technical thing, but I hope that, like Casey's explanation, it'll make it clearer to you. And the other video I recommend is, I have one where I talk about a 3-wallet strategy. It doesn't really matter if you're using a cold wallet. It's mostly about user interface. Most of them are good. Trezor, Tangem, Elipal, Arculus, whatever. If they're established and they live in our industry and people have been using them, for the most part, we've picked them apart, and it's a matter of preference. But how you use exchanges, hot wallets, and cold wallets to store your crypto together is something you should really think about, because cold wallets, if you use them well, are a more secure way to store your private keys offline, and therefore protect your crypto. So we've all talked about this, but I have a video, I think it's like 3-wallet strategy, about using hot wallets, cold wallets, making sure you don't sign bad transactions. We'll put it all in the Discord. And if you have more questions, you can ask us. And I, just before we get off the topic of wallets, wanted to say, hey to Rick, one of our good friends here.
It's been a while since we've seen Rick, I feel like.
I know. I started seeing him pop back up
I've been
lately.
thinking about Rick.
He just has such good positive energy. really, really a sweet guy. And he suggested we share about our feelings about a wallet called Cubetics. I hadn't heard about this, but I want to highlight it just because this is the kind of solution that we're going to need from somewhere. But I have some critical things to say about it. This is a wallet that aims to be multi-chain. One of the problems in crypto is that you got to get a million different wallets because they don't all support all these different networks where your cryptocurrency lives. But this wallet aims to be multi-chain, a non-custodial wallet, meaning only you hold your private keys. They aim to offer gasless transactions and debit card integration. And by now, if you're a regular crypto person, you're thinking, well, sign me up, sounds great. My only concern about this wallet is it's not live yet. And there is a token that they have that you can like buy. It's a pre-sale situation. Something you'll see a lot in crypto is really well marketed products that combine crypto and AI, or that solve a really pressing problem that if you're new or old in the space, you know exists. And they don't have a product except a token that you can buy, or a miner, a device you can buy that will help you get the token. And eventually, when they raise enough money, they promise that they're going to build a product in a year or 2 years. And it's on the roadmap, and we've got partnerships. All of these are called venture style investments. And most venture style investments go to zero. The product is never released. This is not a flaw of the crypto space. This is just how venture backing works. So be really careful. Even if the product is really cool, if all they have to sell you is a token, there's a very good chance that the roadmap they're promising, whatever, will never come to fruition. And all you'll get to do is contribute some money to a cause. I don't know if you guys have other disclaimers on that, but I'm well met on wallets.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, pre-sales are one of the biggest things I get asked about on my personal lives and on my videos and in my comments and stuff. Is people are like, I saw this pre-sale in a Facebook ad. I saw this. That's one of the biggest ways that people target newcomers. And I always just say that most pre-sales are like Theranos. Like, there are legitimate pre-sales that exist, but if you get the Theranos reference, you guys know, anybody in the comments, like what I'm talking about, that you fund it, you never actually have a working product, but you keep funding it, you keep stringing people along, and you're really great at talking and you're really great at stringing people along, but there's never actually a product. And so don't fall for stuff like that. There's so many good things to invest in that are actually out there. And if you are going to invest in pre-sales or seed rounds or angel rounds or whatever you're going to invest in, just be mindful and do it with a very select portion of your portfolio, and also know that those funds aren't going to be liquid for a long time. Like, I have pre-sales that I've invested in 3 years ago that I still don't have a single dime that I've seen yet, because that's typically what good angel investing looks like, right? Is there shouldn't be some kind of incentive for the VCs to just dump on something immediately. There should be some kind of vested schedule there. So I don't know. Yeah, just don't fall for the Theranos BS that you'll see with pre-sales.
Real quick, we've got a lot of other questions in the chat, but I want to give one more commercial. So be thinking about where you guys want to take it next, and I'll let everybody fight for where we go. If you are wanting to learn more and you missed me say it earlier, we are live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And if you click the link on your screen, you can't click it, but just take a screenshot. You know what I mean? You can go to the Rise Up Discord server at discord.gg/riseup. It's where the show lives 24/7. It's a free place for you to gather with other learners at all levels of experience, to ask us your questions, share what you know, and we say rise up together. And everything we do, like if we write a new PDF guide about wallets and considerations for how to install them, if we have a new live class, if we have a coaching offer or something like that, it all goes there first. And we use Patreon to facilitate premium memberships. If you can learn from us totally for free, but if you want to accelerate your learning journey, you can get things like discounts to classes and coaching, early access, because we're not going to teach a live class with 500 people because we can't give them all personal attention that way. It just doesn't make sense. First priority responses in our channels, and office hours. I host the office hours every Friday. People can just come by and ask me their crypto questions totally for free with the cost of membership. So please get in there. You don't have to pay us, but you can start a membership trial today if you want to learn this stuff in an accelerated way. The best thing you can do to learn anything, not just crypto, is get in a community of others, but especially crypto, where when you walk down the street and ask people, how do you feel about Bitcoin? They look at you like you're nuts. You need a place where you can ask, share, learn, and grow. And that's what we've got for you. So we would love to see you back on the show, and we would love to see you in the Discord community. Somebody asked, how can I gift Bitcoin? We have QR codes that you can use to support the show.
I will give you my Bitcoin address.
Just give it to Will personally.
Send it to me personally.
We have addresses you can use to support the show if you're a Coinbase wallet user. riseup.cb.id or RiseUp official. Don't quote me on that. It's all on our website. But if you want to gift Bitcoin to somebody else, then you just send it to them and you classify it as a gift on your taxes. If you want to put it in a trust, that might add some security. I don't know. You might need your lawyer to hand it off to him when you die. We need to know more, but you can definitely do it.
Simply
don't put it in a box.
Just send it to an address that you want it to go to, and it'll go there.
That's right. Yep. Nobody can censor it. Okay.
Good old Bitcoin.
Who's got it? Who wants to take it? I said be ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Here's just what I'll say just regarding the market, because most of the questions we get are, do I buy? Do I sell? Do I buy this? Do I sell this? And they're totally fine questions to ask. We just might not always give you the right answer that you want. I'm not going to point it out to you. But what I will say is just like some words of advice. Whatever euphoric feeling that you are feeling as you run to the computer or to your phone and you start Googling up certain things is typically the wrong thing you're doing. If you're looking up, if you came in and you bought, I don't know, $100 worth of Bitcoin, and now you're like, oh, now altcoin season's coming. I'm going to convert all this into this altcoin. You could very well be making a terrible mistake by selling your Bitcoin into an altcoin that is now about to fall 20%, whereas Bitcoin is about to fall 5 or 10%. And any other mistake under the sun, right? So as you come to us and you're like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? I just want to tell everybody, take a deep breath before you do anything in the space. Sit back, write it out on paper, what it is that you feel like you should be doing right now. And then look at that and sit at it. Sit and look at that for about an hour or so. And then ask yourself, kind of what's the big picture here? What am I actually trying to do with this money? How much is this? A lot of money to me? Is it a little bit? Start putting things into a much better, more rational perspective as to what you want to do with this money, what it means to you, what it means to your family, yourself, your goals, all that kind of stuff. And then go back to what you wrote down on that piece of paper in that more emotional state. And then ask yourself if you really think that's going to help you reach that goal, or if it's going to drastically increase your risk of losing that money. And then go ahead and make your decision, right? But just with every decision you're looking to make, it's usually emotionally charged. Mine are also emotionally charged right now, for sure. But the best thing you can do for yourself and your ability to make money long-term here is, in most cases, taking a little bit more time and making sure that you are in a very rational, solid footwork, or like you're in like a solid place emotionally to be able to make rational decisions with your money. That's just something I want to keep touting to people. You know, we have almost 300 people here at this entire, hour and a half. And I know it's because we have all-time highs for Bitcoin and because people are rushing in, they're looking for information. So just take your time. You don't need to buy that thing right now. That's all.
Very well said. Yeah. And you won't go broke taking profits. It's a hard lesson to lose.
And hey, if you're about to buy something and then it shoots up an extra 15%, you're like, damn, like don't chase after it, because the thing is we're all here. If you're trading, you're here chasing percentages. You're not here chasing dollars. If you were to buy something at $1, just picking a round number, and it goes up to $1.20, let's say it goes up to $1.50. It goes up 50%.
Easy math. I like it.
Yeah, you can buy at that 150 and then it goes down, and hopefully you're still in the bull market, and one day it gets up to $2, right? Congratulations, you made an additional, what is that? Doing that quick math, an additional 25% or something like that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. However, if you had just waited and that $1.50 then came down to $1.25, is that $1.25 the dollar opportunity you had the first time around? No, it obviously would have been better to have bought it at $1. But if you buy it at $1.25 and it goes up to your $1.75, congratulations, you've made, well, that math is actually harder to do in my head, but you've made a really nice percentage return. It does, if you're trading, huzzah, if you're trading, it doesn't matter what price point you buy it at. What matters is that you bought on a dip to ride a green wave up, and you got the percentage returns. That's a little mental flip that you need to make as a trader investor. You are not chasing a price target. You are chasing percentage returns, and that is how you win.
Very well said. And if you're one of those people, I had somebody ask me today about like, I've been buying and accumulating and this is my price target. Should I, wait with conviction until it absolutely hits my target? Be flexible. This is an evolving situation. Be convicted, know your strategy, be informed, but be flexible and don't be afraid. Don't change your mind through fear, but also don't be afraid to change your mind. The truth is a lot of people many times, especially in crypto, have said, I'm accumulating, I don't know, Cardano. It's only 50 cents right now. And it used to have an all-time high of $3 and I'm expecting it to go back there. So I'm not going to sell anything until it gets back there. And there is a likelihood that it never goes back there. Just because something had a previous high doesn't mean it'll hit it again. And just because it hit it one time, there are so many factors. Casey had a great video about how looking at price as an indicator of a token's performance can be misleading because sometimes they issue a more supply, which dilutes the price of every token. So the market cap of a token, the value of the whole thing might be higher than ever, but the token price doesn't necessarily reflect that. So there are all kinds of things that could change. It is just good to be well positioned to take action. And if you're feeling like, a little nervous and after listening, giving yourself that hour, you decide, you know what, I'm going to sell a little bit. Remember, you can do this thing fractionally. You can sell 10% of your holding or 20% and buy back in at any time. Don't FOMO.
Well said.
That's what I got for you.
There you go.
That's what I got for you.
I would say, just be, like Evan said, you have to stay agile and you have to realize that, like we're in a different environment now than we were 6 months ago, than we were a year ago, than we were last week or the week before, whatever. Like it is changing and evolving. And if you don't do the same thing, that's what gets you wrecked. So it's a tale as old as time. And the longer you're here, the more and more you'll see this and the more you'll start to realize that, it is just the way that the world works. When prices go up, people are now interested in purchasing because it's caught their attention and everyone starts saying, God, I can't wait for a dip. And then on the first dip, every one of those people says it's never going back up again. You're all suckers and fools and I'm out of here. And then they don't do anything and then it goes back up again and they start praying for a dip again. And it's just cyclical. That is just the way that it goes. So be realistic. Understand that buying crypto right now, you still have just a fine chance of making money, but you have to adjust the way that you look at it. It's not the same as buying Bitcoin in the middle of the bear market when 3 people on earth are talking about it and attendance at Quantum in Miami is literally 14 of us standing in the hallway. We just saw each other at the last lame conference that nobody went to. Like, fast forward 2 years and it's pouring out the front doors and the line is all the way to the street and back again, whatever. The risk has just changed. It's just riskier to buy now, so you just have to adjust accordingly. So that is why I say all the time that you shouldn't just take buy signals from people on social media or trade or buy or invest in stuff you don't understand based on what influencers say, because they almost never talk about it that way. And it's just always, this thing is going to make so much money. And it maybe, but like the likelihood of it making as much as they say it does just goes down all the time. And people just get in with unreal expectations, investing in stuff they have, no 2 clues about. And that's what gets you hosed. So, just be realistic, stay agile, and make sure you're adjusting your perspective accordingly as the market shifts.
Yeah. And if you've already sold your stuff, you feel like you've missed the major run, then don't fret, because it's not over yet. Like we are really still in the first innings of the crypto game. There's always going to be time to see what's happening and position yourself for future success. The thing to do is avoid the FOMO. Be careful. Join a community. Pay attention. And I think just make it easy for yourself. So many people, they're buying every single coin they hear about. They're trying to get every single wallet. They're trying to watch every crypto live. They're so afraid. They're so caught up in it. But if you slow down, some of the best portfolios I know are people who have, 2 or 3 tokens. They're not paying that much attention. And it's because they are able to preserve their energy and act with conviction only that they're doing so well, you know? So go ahead,
Yeah,
Casey.
I just have a couple final thoughts. Those are all fantastic points made by all three of you. You each kind of touched on everything that I wanted to say here, but everybody that's here, like, I've been here for a long time in this space and listen to what these guys are telling you. You know, we've all been through many cycles in crypto, and we've seen how this plays out. We've been through all of the emotions and had the experiences that a lot of you are having right now, and we still do. We want to be here to be transparent and share that with you too. So there's kind of like 3 points I just wanted to address before we wrap up. One is the unit bias. Yeah, just because something is cheaper doesn't mean that it's a good buy. So like to Will's point, you're looking at in terms of percentage gains. When somebody says, oh, Bitcoin is too expensive because it's $80,000 versus something that costs 50 cents. Well, that's not how price works, right? You price things in percentage gain, and I actually have a video coming on this that I made, so I'll get that up for you. This isn't just a shill, but beware of unit bias. Just because something is cheaper doesn't mean that it's going to go up more, right?
Yep.
The next one is thinking about things going to previous all-time highs. There are many circumstances in which that thing that you bought many years ago is not ever going to see another all-time high again. So you've got to think about the opportunity cost and your conviction. Are you just hanging on to that thing because you need it to go back to all-time high to break even, that then you could possibly go and reinvest that money somewhere else? That day might never come. So that, in my opinion, is not a good reason to hang on to something. So you know, you got to understand why things do and don't go back to their previous all-time high. And you know, this is another thing I made I batched some videos so that, because I'm traveling, but this is another thing I made a video on where, like, guys, when stuff is not going to go back to all-time high, there's a couple of reasons. Is one, there's more competition for that product now. Two, the tokenomics mean there are lots more of that token coming into circulation, and maybe the mind share is just not where that particular category is right now, right? So there's lots of reasons why hanging on to things isn't. That's why the agility that these guys are talking about is very, very important. And then lastly, on the removing emotions side of things, is using those limit orders, using those buy orders and sell orders that these guys were talking about earlier. That is how you can take the emotions out of the equation entirely. And again, it doesn't have to be black or white. You don't have to be completely in or completely out of your position, but you can set yourself limit orders on the buy and sell side. Like, I like to set, you know, stink bids on things where when they pull back, my limit order is getting filled. And it might not have felt very good to buy that thing in that moment because you're scared of catching a falling knife. But, you know, in a bull market, you kind of buy high, sell higher is really what happens, because you never feel amazing about buying in a bull market. But yeah, use your limits to remove emotions, right? Whether it be like you get to buy something on a dip and you didn't have to stare at it, or it be, you know, when it pumps, it's taking profits off the top and you don't have to sit there and go, oh my God, what if it goes higher? Well, you had it automatically did it for you. So there's all my things.
Yep. And I saw one comment here that I just want to touch on because it's a point that I like to harp on. Are you going to sell everything during the bull run, or will you hold on to something? Cryptocurrencies are horrific long-term investments, except for Bitcoin. Cryptocurrencies are horrific long-term investments. There are 2 cameras, everyone who's on TikTok, except for Bitcoin. And then with the exception of maybe a few others, Ethereum, maybe, Solana, maybe, Chainlink, maybe, right? There's a lot of competition for all those coins out there. They might not one day be the, you know, giants of the space that they are right now. But all altcoins, you should absolutely look at as short-term investments. Short-term being like if you bought in the bear market, like you got 1 to 2 years and you should get out of them if you bought perfectly, according to the 4-year cycle. Bitcoin, though, you can buy, hold that. I firmly believe, that's my personal thought and opinion, you can buy and hold Bitcoin at a top, and that one day you will be back in profit, like right now. If you bought the top back in 2021, if you bought the top back in 2017, if you bought the top back in 2013, guess what? You got back in profit again within 4 years, right? Altcoins do not do that. Very, 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 very rarely do that. all altcoins should be short-term investments. My personal opinion. Financial advice.
Little hot take there. A little hot take. I don't necessarily disagree, but my final thought might be that the best thing is to know yourself. There are so many fingers pointing to the moon, and it is easy to miss all the heavenly glory if you are looking at your favorite influencer, if you are looking too much at the price, if you are looking too much at the charts. And you need to, they say, touch grass. You need to get rooted. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And, come back and hang out, because the investment capital, which you stand to gain profit on, is just one part of the wealth you might gain by being early to a totally new industry that will touch pretty much every aspect of your online life and increasingly your offline life as well. There is relational capital, social capital, there's time capital, and so much more that you can stand to gain just by spending a little attention, a little time here, even if you never buy a single dollar of cryptocurrency. So that's my final thought. Alex, what about you? You got a final thought before we ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset?
I'm feeling pretty well met. So I'll go with an oldie but a goodie. I do agree that the vast majority of altcoins, to the point where it's just next to impossible. I believe that will not be the case forever. I'm starting to shift, because Will, I'm right there with you. I think, Bitcoin is the chosen one. However, I don't know. There's just something about the way that some of these networks are starting to exist now, and
like Solana.
Yes,
like Ethereum being tied closely with BlackRock and Coinbase and Base.
Yeah.
Solana Foundation being tied in with so many institutions. There's a lot more infrastructure that's being put in place still. So I get your point.
And I would agree that they are so much more risky. I think Casey's point in her video the other day, highlighting the fact that Solana did just make an all-time high yesterday, even though the price per token did not cross its old price per token all-time high, but the market cap crossed $100 billion. Wild. I've started to hear people who always used to say only hold Bitcoin and Ethereum long-term now say the trifecta: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So that's the beginning baby steps of that thesis starting to change for me, to where I may, and I will, actually, it's not a may, I will always have some Solana at this point until something else major, if something major were to change, just because I use it for stuff that I like to do all the time. So in that sense, I do disagree just slightly that I'm open to that narrative changing.
How dare you?
I'm betting on it, man.
How dare you disagree with me slightly? But yeah, no, sorry. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. I need to see the proof in the pudding first.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I think that we both have a pretty high threshold for what constitutes legitimate proof in the pudding, which I think is the way to do it. My final thought will be to answer this question from over on X.
Oh yeah. Went. Good question.
What does it mean
that
Sol hit an all-time high without hitting an all-time high? I mean that the all-time high token price was what, 220 something, 230 or something like that.
Higher than this.
But the token supply has inflated since then, and the market cap hit an all-time high yesterday of $100 billion, and then corrected down underneath it. So there is more money in Solana than there has ever been before. There was yesterday. Now there's a little bit less. And so that just has to be kept in mind as we go, that supply has changed quite a bit. However, there are way more people involved. There's way more stuff happening over there. There's more things being built. There's more of a reason for that thing to exist. People are buying Sol not just to invest, but to use, which is the shift that I'm talking about, of that starting to happen. What is the inflation rate of Solana? I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I can tell you.
I don't think it's that big. I think it's
not. It's not.
It's currently it's 4.92%, and it will decrease by 15% roughly every year and a half. It's actually every epoch year or epoch year, depending on where you're at.
And how pretentious you are. Yeah.
Yeah, but so it'll decrease. So right now it's about 4.92%. It'll decrease by 15% roughly every year and a half. So it's tapering.
Very interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, monsters and machines, people and creatures of all ages, I am so thrilled that Alex and Will are starting to say proof in the pudding, and I hope Casey will adopt that phrase too. It's corny as hell, and I'm just glad it's making it into the common parlance. If you are so ready, so back, so bearish, so bullish, whatever, you got to come back tomorrow because the show's over today. Jump in the Discord, find the links on the screen. It's free to join. All the resources are there and at the riseupmorningshow.com. We're going to be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We've also got Rise Up After Dark tomorrow night, and we'll be here hanging out with you in the meantime.
Spoiler alert for After Dark tomorrow. I asked Evan yesterday, so I'm picking a very large number of the tokens on the list.
Okay.
For tomorrow, I'm excited.
Will's news to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not really news to Will because Will is going to get full credit for several of these things. Some of these are ones that Will you've mentioned before, like Navi Protocol and a couple other kind of things in that
Constitutes,
arena,
which did great.
Yeah, which I'm excited to look at, and so I'm stoked to give you the time to go through some of your thesis on those because it's, I think, more built out than me. But I just wanted to do a good old-fashioned gem hunt. So I would say come to Rise Up After Dark tomorrow night and participate in the gem hunt, and let's see if we can't get a little degen on some stuff.
That'd be nice.
So I'm excited.
Casey, you're traveling tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, I will not be around tomorrow.
That's okay.
Or potentially the next day, but I'll be back after that.
Okay, well, be safe and let us know how we can support you on your journey. Take lots of pictures and, all that good stuff. Everybody, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us on the Rise Up Morning Show. Until next time, my friends, stay well and, of course, rise up, everybody.